yeah, I think, again, I think he should have done what I did years ago. So he should have just filmed what he was doing, and I would be working for him on his YouTube channel.
Matt Armstrong started with nothing, just late-night shifts, and a dream that seemed impossible. Every car he rebuilt, every video he made, was a step toward a future he barely dared to imagine.
But my brain, now I know a lot more about my dad. It's like the same as me. It's like you don't switch off. Even we struggle to sleep because we can't switch off what we're doing. We have to have something to do.
Behind the success and the flashy supercars lies heartbreak, sacrifice, and risk. His journey shows that no matter where you start, with courage and determination, you can build your own empire too. Join us as we explore the inspiring yet heartbreaking journey of his rise to success. The athlete who refused to quit. In 2016, Matt Armstrong's world revolved around BMX. Every jump, every fall, every bruise told the story of a young man chasing his dream with everything he had. Born and raised in Leicester, Matt wasn't just riding for fun. He was a professional BMX rider, traveling across the UK and Europe, performing at competitions that most people only ever watched online. To outsiders, it looked like the dream life: adventure, fame, and freedom. But behind the medals and bright smiles, there was a truth that few saw. BMX didn't pay enough to live on. Sponsors covered his travel expenses, but not his rent or meals. Every time the applause faded, reality returned. Matt had to work to survive. When the competitions ended, he went straight back to his evening job at an Indian restaurant called Spice 45. He worked there 7 days a week, often from 6 in the evening until late at night. He served tables, managed deliveries, and cleaned up when the restaurant closed. Then, exhausted, he'd go home and still find time to edit BMX videos to submit for the next event. Sleep was a luxury he rarely knew. Each day began with training, long hours on his bike, and then the same cycle of work and editing. He lived with the constant pressure of being an athlete who could barely afford his own lifestyle. While others rested, Matt was pushing himself to stay in the game. But even in the grind, something deeper was happening. His time spent filming his own rides and cutting videos taught him more than he realized. He was learning to tell stories, to create emotion through a camera, to build an audience. Life wasn't easy, but every night spent working and every hour editing or repairing something built a foundation he couldn't see yet. Hidden within that fatigue and endless work, a new passion was quietly taking shape, one that would soon change his life forever. The unexpected passion, born in a parking lot. After long days of training and nights spent at Spice 45, Matt Armstrong often found himself standing under the dim lights of the restaurant car park. Hands greasy, tools scattered on the ground. It was here, among the scent of curry and motor oil, that a quiet passion began to take root. Fixing cars wasn't planned. It started as a distraction from exhaustion, a small break from the noise of endless work. A friend's car needed a quick fix, a dented door, a faulty wire, and Matt stepped in just to help. But the moment he tightened a bolt and watched the engine come back to life, something inside him clicked. The satisfaction of fixing something broken mirrored his own life at that time. Tired, struggling, yet still running. At first, these sessions were small. A bit of tinkering after closing, replacing headlights or polishing bodywork. But before long, his curiosity turned into obsession. Every day, he looked forward to being in that car park more than anything else. He began watching tutorials, reading about engines, and experimenting with parts. His hands were bruised, his nails dark from grease, but he didn't care. There was a strange peace in it, a rhythm of problem and solution that gave him control over something when the rest of his life felt uncertain. Meanwhile, his editing skills from BMX videos were sharpening. He had learned how to frame a story, how to make a simple moment exciting, and how to keep people watching. While others scrolled through social media, Matt studied it. He began to notice how certain videos grabbed attention, how others fell flat. He didn't know it yet, but he was training his storytelling instincts, an ability that would later make him stand out in a crowded digital world. As weeks turned into months, his love for cars deepened. His free time disappeared into late nights spent fixing engines or figuring out what made them tick. When a local garage offered him a small job, he took it immediately. What started as basic mechanical work quickly grew into something more. Seeing his skill with a camera, the garage let him handle their social media pages. He filmed, edited, and posted short clips of repairs and transformations. For the first time, his two worlds, cars and storytelling, were blending together. He didn't realize it yet, but every oil change, every filmed clip, and every edited video was preparing him for the journey that would change his entire future. But as Matt's love for cars grew stronger, fate was quietly setting the stage for something that would test not only his new skills, but also his resilience in a way he never expected. The crash that changed everything. It was a cold evening in late 2018 when everything changed for Matt Armstrong. That night, his partner, Hannah, was driving her Audi TT when a sudden collision sent the car spinning out of control. The sound of crushing metal echoed like a nightmare. Thankfully, Hannah survived with only minor injuries, but the car was destroyed beyond recognition. When Matt saw the wreck, his heart sank. The Audi TT had been their pride, a symbol of all the little victories they had fought for during the hardest years. The insurance company quickly declared it a total loss, ready to be scrapped. But Matt couldn't let it go. Where others saw junk, he saw a challenge. He bought the wreck back from the insurance company, rolled it into his small workspace, and told Hannah, "Let's rebuild this." That single decision marked the true turning point in his life. With nothing but determination, borrowed tools, and his camera, he began documenting every part of the process. It wasn't just about fixing a car, it became therapy. Each dent, each weld, and each setback told a story. He filmed everything, his hands shaking with frustration, his face lit by sparks from the welder, the exhaustion in his voice as he explained what went wrong, and how he planned to make it right. The footage wasn't polished or glamorous, but it was honest. When he posted it on his small YouTube channel, viewers didn't just see a man repairing metal, they saw someone rebuilding his life. That crash had destroyed one dream, but quietly ignited another. What began as a desperate attempt to rebuild a wreck was about to turn into something far greater. Could this small YouTube experiment become something more than just a hobby? Let's find out. The spark of a YouTube empire. By early 2019, Matt Armstrong's YouTube channel was slowly transforming from a small side project into something extraordinary. The video documenting the rebuild of Hannah's Audi TT had done more than fix a broken car, it connected with people. Encouraged by the growing attention, Matt decided to take on another challenge. This time, he bought a wrecked Audi S5 that had been advertised as the UK's cheapest Audi S5. The car looked hopeless, damaged panels, missing parts, a nightmare for any garage. But that was exactly what attracted him. He filmed every part of the rebuild, from dragging the wreck home to cleaning out the debris, sourcing rare parts, and painstakingly restoring every detail. His editing skills, once born from BMX videos, had now matured into something special. Each video told a story that made viewers feel part of the process. On his channel description, Matt wrote a line that summed up his entire philosophy. "I'm not professionally trained, just a regular guy winging it as I go along restoring each car." That sentence became his identity online. People saw themselves in him, someone learning, struggling, and succeeding without shortcuts. The channel grew steadily. Each upload brought more subscribers, more comments, and more encouragement from people who found inspiration in his journey. The money from YouTube's ads started to come in. At first, it was small, barely enough to cover tools or parts. But slowly, something amazing happened. The income began to surpass what he earned from one of his regular jobs. For the first time, Matt realized that what began as a stress outlet was becoming a genuine business. With cautious excitement, he made the decision to quit one of his jobs and dedicate more time to content creation. Still, he didn't completely let go of his old life. The hidden truth was that Matt continued riding BMX whenever he could, still trained regularly, and even helped out at the restaurant during busy weekends. Every extra hour, every late shift, went straight into funding new projects for his channel. He was living on his passion now, not just chasing it. For the first time in years, things felt like they were falling into place. The channel was growing, his reputation was rising, and the dream he never planned for was turning real. But just when it all seemed to be going right, a global crisis was about to arrive, one that would freeze the world and threaten to take everything he had built away. The risk that could have ruined everything. March 2020 arrived with an unease that spread faster than anyone could have imagined. The world was shutting down. Shops were closing, streets went silent, and the UK entered full lockdown. For Matt Armstrong, the silence was deafening. His steady routine, work at Graham Good Racing, car projects, and YouTube filming came to an abrupt halt. He was furloughed, sitting at home with no idea how long the situation would last. In his bank account was his most precious saving, a house deposit. It had taken years of long shifts, skipped nights out, and back-to-back jobs to gather that money. His original plan was simple: buy another property, rent it out, and slowly build a safer future. But now, with the world paused, that safe plan suddenly looked fragile. The housing market was frozen, his job uncertain, and life had no guarantees. It was during this time that Matt began to think differently. He realized that while people were stuck indoors, hungry for distraction and inspiration, he had something that could give them exactly that: his car projects. His mind raced with possibility. What if he used the money he had saved to create something bigger, riskier, and potentially life-changing? That's when he found it: a wrecked Bentley Continental GT. The car was far beyond anything he had ever worked on before. It was expensive, complicated, and intimidating, but it also represented the boldest opportunity he'd ever had. After days of thought, Matt made the kind of decision that defines a person's future. He took every penny of his house deposit and bought the wrecked Bentley. From the moment the car arrived, the challenge was overwhelming. Parts were missing, panels were twisted, and the electrical systems were a maze. But Matt saw more than damage. He saw a story that needed to be told. He set up his camera and began filming, documenting each step, each mistake, and each breakthrough. The timing was perfect. As millions sat locked at home, Matt's videos gave viewers something real: determination, struggle, and hope. The series exploded in popularity. The Bentley rebuild pulled massive views, and his subscriber count shot up faster than he had ever imagined. For the first time, the income from YouTube was surpassing his day job. The gamble had worked. Hidden behind the excitement was his quiet understanding. Playing it safe would have meant losing this chance forever. Protecting the deposit might have saved his savings, but killed his dream. By risking it all, he had discovered what he was truly capable of. The Bentley rebuild didn't just fix a car. It proved that Matt could turn wrecks into stories, stories into views, and views into a living. But as lockdown began to lift and his employer called him back to work, a new question loomed larger than ever. Would he choose the safety of a paycheck or the dream that had just begun to come alive? All or nothing. When the lockdown finally ended, Matt Armstrong faced the most important choice of his life. His employer called, ready for him to return to his 9-to-5 job. For years, that job had given him stability and a steady income. But now, things were different. The success of his Bentley rebuild had opened his eyes to something greater. His YouTube channel was growing at a pace he couldn't ignore. His audience was waiting for more, and the feeling of building something of his own was impossible to give up. Sitting at home, surrounded by his tools and cameras, Matt made the decision that would change everything. He quit. From that day forward, he went all in on his channel. There was no safety net, no second job, just his talent, hard work, and determination to make it work. The results came quickly. With his newfound consistency and growing fan base, big sponsors began knocking on his door. Brands like Squarespace and Carly reached out, offering partnerships that pushed his channel to the next level. And in a moment of pure validation, even luxury car manufacturers began noticing his work. Each video became more ambitious than the last. One of his most talked-about projects featured him rebuilding a Lamborghini Revuelto, a car worth over £600,000. The title alone, rebuilding a €600,000 Lamborghini Revuelto, captured the impossible scale of what he was doing. Viewers were hooked, not just by the cars, but by his honest, down-to-earth storytelling. Matt wasn't pretending to be a professional mechanic. He was just a regular guy taking on extraordinary challenges, learning as he went, and sharing every struggle and victory along the way. Behind the scenes, life was changing fast. His workshop, once a cramped driveway covered with tarps and tools, evolved into a proper industrial unit. It was a huge leap: rent, equipment, insurance, but it was necessary for the kind of builds he was now tackling. The small YouTube project had turned into a real business. Hannah joined him full-time, handling parts of the filming, editing, and logistics, while his father, with years of mechanical experience, came on board to help with the technical side of the builds. Together, they formed a family-run team built on passion and trust. The Matt Armstrong brand began to take shape. The videos were cleaner, the builds more professional, and the storytelling more captivating. Viewers watched a man transform his dream into a thriving empire, one car at a time. But as the audience grew, so did the expectations. Deadlines got tighter. Sponsors demanded results. Every new build came with higher stakes and more pressure. Matt had reached the top of the mountain he had once only dreamed of climbing. From broken dreams to a built empire. Today, Matt's workshop stands as more than just a garage. It is a symbol of persistence, creativity, and bold choices. What began with late-night shifts at Spice 45 has turned into something unimaginable. Now, he leads a team, manages a brand, and runs a YouTube channel followed by millions. Every car that rolls into his workshop carries a story. Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, Porsches, and even the most extreme rebuilds have passed through his hands. One of his most famous projects was the first crash-damaged Lamborghini Revuelto. Another unforgettable challenge was rebuilding a Porsche 911 GT3 RS in just 24 hours. These projects earned him respect, followers, and a reputation for tackling the impossible. Hannah is now by his side, and his father is an essential part of the team. Together, they have converted the dream house he once only imagined into reality. Every corner of that house reflects the journey, the struggles, and the small victories along the way. But there is a hidden twist in Matt's story. The real question is not about the money he made or the high-end cars he restored. It is about the choices he made. Did taking risks, stepping into the unknown, and leaving comfort behind shape the person he became? Matt left stability for uncertainty. He gave up predictable hours for chaos, late-night shifts for 3 a.m. editing sessions. Every project, every video, every rebuild carried the weight of risk. But it also carried the possibility of reward, growth, and impact. The empire he built is not just about cars. It is about identity. He refused to define himself simply as an athlete, an employee, or even a mechanic. Instead, he became a creator, a fixer, and a storyteller. Each car he rebuilds tells a story, and every video captures the journey in a way that connects millions of people to his work. The empire exists because Matt chose to trust his instincts, even when the safer path was right in front of him. It was never about playing it safe. It was about pushing limits, embracing failures, and turning broken dreams into something extraordinary. Matt Armstrong's future looks full of possibilities and challenges. He is constantly pushing the boundaries of what his workshop can achieve, taking on more ambitious car rebuilds and exploring new creative projects for his channel. With his team growing stronger and his audience expanding, he has the chance to turn his brand into a global name. But the real test will be whether he can keep balancing risk, innovation, and the dream that started it all. What do you think about Matt's journey from risk to empire? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take.